Hello there, Atheist Junior here, your friend and humble narrator, and I'm back with a new video, new live stream, and today we're going to be looking at a video on Rumble, and I've got Big Bad Mama and Aiden with me. How are you guys doing?
Good. Thanks, AJ. Good to be on.
Hey guys, definitely not being held hostage in a Belarusian basement right now or anything like that. How's it going? What's up? that was good, right, AJ? That was good, right?
Yeah. That was
okay.
Good.
Okay.
The practice paid off.
Okay. Anyways, let's get into this video, guys.
The failed murder plot. That's right. Classic.
This is Stephen Bolan's one iota of what he thinks he has over people in this community. You know, never mind the fact that he's a failed excuse of a father who can't maintain a decent sedentary life for himself. No. We need to focus on a supposed phone call that happened 2.5 years ago. That's what's important right now. So I just want everybody to know we're reviewing this interview, quote unquote, only because it's still being dredged up by these people to this day. I think that's worthwhile to know, and let's get into it.
That's my fault. You gotta turn the volume up.
That does help, yes.
Like I was deep into it when it was happening, when we were funding Zaire. I knew
like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now.
Yeah, and we were talking to the FBI and shit. Like we knew who was there. We knew which police.
I like how Adam Lore is like mid hoagie while giving.
Anyways, I was making the plot to get on the plane. Oh my goodness. There's a bit of extra sour cream with that pierogi. Goodness gracious. Anyway,
just like
let me make it clear that he didn't know that he was being recorded at the time or that this material would be used. And Aiden, you can correct me if I'm wrong there.
No, that's true. I'm pretty sure that actually comes up over the course of this recording.
Right.
I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Now, I haven't listened to this since the documentary, which, by the way, just a subtle plug, check out that documentary stream me and AJ did. That is still, to this day, in my humble opinion, my favorite stream I've ever done with AJ. And we've done some good fucking streams, let me tell you that.
True.
So, yeah, that was probably the last time I heard this. And yeah, I'm pretty sure even in that brief snippet they had in that, it still has that clip where Adam's like, but this isn't being recorded, right? And Steven's like, no, it's not being recorded.
Yeah, I just love this this artwork with Bolan holding the tape and everything, and Kent with his water that he's going to turn to wine.
Yeah, I love how if you know the lore, the Adam lore, you might even say, behind this Steven photo on the left, you know that the original unedited photo is like him holding some random boulder that the con man Warren Wyatt says is like deck timber from Noah's Ark.
Right.
So I love the implication that what is supposedly like a holy object in Steven's worldview, that's what this tape is right here. This tape talking about how somebody's going to get murdered. It's just, I don't know. It's an interesting little window into this guy's thought process.
Police were going and looking and finding the bones and stuff. It was supposed to be secret. Like Cindy was terrified of revealing this. But there were people over there investigating all that shit and digging stuff up.
But they never found anything. If they did,
how public that was.
So are the police and FBI working with Kent? Because if they went and found all that stuff, Kent should not still be out driving around. That's what I'm saying, Adam. Like, it was all a figment of our imagination.
At that point, Mark was like doxing me, and Aiden was going crazy, and
as I tend to do.
Sounds like typical Aiden.
Yeah, you know, everybody's on the stream just having a good time, and then I just come for 17 hours straight over top of everybody else for the entire stream. That's what I'm well known for here on YouTube. Very charitable representation, Adam Moore.
Maybe if Bubblegum Gun is present.
He brings out the best in me. He really does.
Or sea science.
Oh my god! Don't even get me started. Don't even get me
I just
started
laughed.
with that
I
bitch.
couldn't deal with it. When Mark started like he's like protecting Chris Jones from Zaire's family trying to shoot them, and he's calling the police to save Chris Jones, and now they're flying him away and shit. And Mark Stone is just posting my information and my phone number and address and shit. And
If there was any truth, though, Adam, you're a smart guy. As we've established before, you're not retarded.
That's my favorite moment in this interview.
I love how Steven manages to take something that should be just like a casual joke, and he still manages to be a condescending douche nozzle, even while saying that. Like, it's almost impressive. It really is.
It's almost as impressive as his diminutive legs in this photo.
Hey guys, chicken legs Bolan here.
He looks like one of those KFC chickens where like their legs are tiny, but the body is so gigantic and distended that they can't even like get up under their own power and walk around. He needs like suspensors like the Baron Harkonnen just to move around.
Yeah, or like one of those half goat, half men from British fairy tales, like walking around with legs. All right.
So ask yourself this. If they really found human bones or any ties of pedophilia to Kent Hovind, solid evidence, don't you think it would be all over the news? Baptist pastor in Alabama questioned and arrested for da-da-da-da-da-da. He's not, though, because there was no evidence. It was a bunch of hearsay and hopeful wishes that didn't pan out because they.
So let me get this straight. Bolan's standard of evidence for whether this was actually true or not is,
Well, you know, if it was true, then it'd be all over the news and people would be talking about it and stuff like that.
and it's like, okay, so I'm sure that you didn't stand behind Kent the last time that his name was all over the news and he was dragged through the mud in the public for like tax evasion and, you know, spousal abuse. You don't stand behind him even when he has to go to court for things like that, Bolan, right? It just goes to show that this standard of evidence he's using right now is bullshit. Even when Kent is held to account in the public eye, he's one of the first people to try and take up for him.
Right.
Yeah, and what about that article in the Daily Beast?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to bring up. There were 2 Daily Beast articles talking about Kent being an enabler regarding the Chris Jones incident. Sorry, AJ.
No, go ahead. That's all I was going to mention.
Yeah, so I mean, it did make the news.
Like, Bolan genuinely, in his deluded, fragmented excuse of a mind, really does genuinely think that Kent Hovind is still like a national household name that people still know. So he hopes that like if something like that happens, well, it would be covered everywhere and everybody would be talking about it. No, they wouldn't, because nobody has heard the name Kent Hovind since like 2007. So it really.
What about the Free Kent Hovind? That was a nationwide thing, according
to
yeah.
Bolan. That's true. Half of a dozen people stood out front of a building and, you know, held some obnoxiously neon Free Kent signs and taped obnoxiously neon Free Kent signs to their vehicle. You know what a miracle is? The fact that nobody got killed on the freeway because of one of those signs. That's a miracle right there.
It's like that meme from Arrested Development. Like, there are dozens of us.
Yeah, the documentary has like interspersed footage of like the march at Selma, and then he has footage of like half a dozen people standing in front of a building somewhere. It's like, yeah, these two are exactly the same.
They weren't totally accurate.
Kent is facilitating bringing in pedophiles over there, and
he's not.
It's questionable if Kent himself is a pedophile, because Cindy had shit about him thinking he's a pedophile. Mark Stoney had an issue where his daughter was probably molested. Like,
Even Mark himself never alleged that.
Yeah, that's an exaggeration.
This
Right.
is just a classic example of Adam Lohr's sensationalist bullshit in full effect. This is like Adam was such a hindrance to holding Ken to any kind of account, and that's why he's the person that Steven is talking to, by the way. Make no mistake whatsoever. Steven also recognizes, dumb as the rock that he was holding in that photo before it was edited into a videotape as he may be, even he could realize that Adam was more of a hindrance to that than a help. That's why it isn't Mark that he's talking to. That's why it isn't Big Bad Mama or anyone that was critical of Kent and actually had substantive criticism toward him. No, he's interviewing the red herring of the group.
Exactly.
Yeah, and let's make it clear that Adam and Johanna are the only ones that have made this accusation about there being a pit of bones, near DAL, and all these accusations. Mark never made that accusation. It was only Adam, and he was getting most of that from Johanna, who we know was, majorly deluded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you can judge somebody by their sources,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It just seems to me that Adam is somebody who's in the practice of saying as outlandish a claim as he possibly can and basically measuring the yardstick of whether you're willing to buy it or not. And as far as he's willing to go before he strains credulity to his limit is what he'll push. That's my personal experience.
Yeah. There's this long silence after he says that thing about Mark Stoney.
So that long silence is Achilles, who is also a part of this call. And Achilles had all his audio scrubbed from this video. So that's what those silences are.
Oh, the entire phone call where Achilles is literally so ashamed of his participation in this that he just wants nothing to do with it whatsoever. If you're going to be dishonest and you're going to act like this is the entire phone call, why not have the wherewithal to go back and edit out the really weird, obvious gaps in the video? Like,
right?
This is really Bolan's MO. He's an incredibly spiteful person because he still has this in his back pocket all this time later and is still desperate for anybody to see it as far as like believing the spin that he's presenting here is concerned. But he's also shockingly incompetent when it comes to being a despicable human being. So I guess I'm grateful for that. At least he's bad at being a horrible person.
Yep.
I have to tell you, Adam, I was there in 2020, like January, February, like March or April of 2020. And my family was there for almost 5 months, but 4 months, almost 5. And this was right after the Zaire visit. No one mentioned it. It wasn't a care in anyone's world.
Not true. I know that's not true.
Who mentioned it?
Who's the crazy? I keep forgetting who the crazy lady is.
Johanna wasn't there yet. Johanna got there after I left.
Okay, maybe it wasn't.
Hold up. It was March, April, May, June, July. I would have left about July or August.
Dude, I can get my phone and.
Yeah, so it's funny to me how he's referring to Joanna as, and he doesn't forget who Joanna is. He's saying that, but I somehow doubt that. But he's calling her the crazy lady here, as though he just doesn't take a single thing that she says seriously whatsoever. But Joanna is the woman that, and correct me if I'm wrong here, AJ or Big Bad Mama, but Joanna was the person who Adam got all of these outlandish, crazy ideas from.
Exactly.
To begin with, in the first place. So she's a crazy lady.
Yeah.
He's just saying that to Bolan here because he knows that Bolan thinks Joanna is crazy, not because Adam actually thinks that she's crazy. His actions demonstrate that he didn't think that she was crazy because he went around spreading her crap.
It's a pet peeve of mine when people act like they can't remember people's names or the names of things. It just bothers me.
Yeah, it's just so dishonest.
It's like I have to have this disaffected attitude. It's something that Lupin does constantly.
I'm just so Lupin about everything in my life.
Yeah.
Obligatory
taking
Lupin.
notes.
I know, but I'm telling you, the time frame's not right. I got there right after the
timeline,
Zaire situation.
I got texts and
Was
shit.
2019.
Mark,
or
show me
early
texts and
2020.
shit, Steven.
Dude, I'm telling you, as someone who was there and lived with Mark and Cindy for 4 months, they did not bring up Chris Jones once. I'm sorry, one time.
If he's so confident about being there for months, why did he change his whole testimony?
Yeah. Yeah, for real. And I mean, not only that, but Adam is bringing up what Mark has also showed me, which is text evidence from this time period that Steven is talking about, where, yes, people are talking about Chris, and other people are expressing concerns about the fact he was there and worried about the fact that he's going to come back again. All of that was happening during this time period that Bolan's talking about, and he somehow thinks that his anecdotal evidence is going to be better than literal proof of the contrary. I don't fucking think so.
The Chris Jones incident got brought up, and that's when Chris Jones was coming to visit. And,
Steven,
and told, hold it, hear me out, Adam.
I know, but just let me interject just real quick.
Hmm.
I agree with you. I understand. There's some weird thing with Mark and Cindy that when this shit was going on and they saw it, there was a period where they did nothing, and it's fucking weird. It's this weird missing part. And then at some point, Kent did something to Mark or Kent did something to Cindy, and then they bring it up. But there was a period where it was like they didn't. What did Cindy do when all this shit happened?
They
She
didn't act guilty or afflicted or like
Cindy
keeping
said,
a horrible
"I don't
secret when I
remember
was
that
there."
Period. I can't remember.
Pause.
Mm-hmm. That's
Wait a minute.
coincidental.
This is also vague.
Yeah, like what he's alleging here about Mark not caring until like something happened to him is just complete crap, because the entire auspices for why he left before all of what Adam is talking about right now was because of Chris and because of his behavior and the way that he was acting. That predates all of this Zaire stuff by a decent amount of time. But they're acting right now in this conversation as though they're like synonymous with each other, which is just so dishonest.
Well, isn't it like they're acting like nobody had an issue with Chris Jones coming until like years later? And we have the recordings of the people having issues with him, either coming to visit or after he'd been there or what have you. So that's just a lie that Bolan is telling there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he admits that there was a time when it was brought up because he was visiting. Well, he visited multiple times, so that just shows that he's wrong. Say it was only one time.
The thing that let me add one more thing is the thing that they didn't act on for a while was trying to find the child after the fact, after the visit to Dinosaur Adventureland. Now that took a while for them to start to search for him.
Probably because they wanted to be somewhat certain about what happened before they wanted to just go and pursue it, which is pretty reasonable if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you don't think, Adam?
No, Steven, you're misunderstanding. I agree so much with what you're saying. Like,
oh, okay.
For me to say anything negative about Cindy and Mark, everyone would come after me. I would be destroyed.
I know.
And Steven, I know that there's
Pause.
weird shit with Mark and Cindy.
See, this just goes to show that all of this Adam trying to expose the truth, oh, I'm trying to reveal what really happened to everybody, is a bunch of sensationalist bullshit. Adam cares about his image more than he cares about anything else. He just showed that. Oh, if I said all these things about Cindy and Mark, I'd be destroyed. Yeah, you would be destroyed because what you're saying is factually inaccurate, you fucking snakish piece of shit.
Where yeah, they didn't do anything about Zaire when they didn't even know his name and stuff. There was a period where it was like there was no reaction.
This is so annoying. This thing about they didn't know how to spell his name. I think it's pretty reasonable how the misspelling came about, because
It's
you're
spelled
using
weird.
The name Zaire,
Yeah.
like Zaire, is the name of a country in Africa. So the idea that this child could have been named that is not outlandish, because there are plenty of children in the world who are named Zaire with that spelling. Like, that's just factually accurate. So this idea that, oh, well, they had all this hard time because they had the wrong name, acting like that's bunk in some way, shape, or form. Well, Adam, you acted like you were way more dedicated to the cause than anybody else. Then why didn't you find it? Why weren't you the one that broke the news of Zaire's name being misspelled? It wasn't you, it was Mark.
Mhm.
It wasn't you that found the child, it was Mark that found the child. It wasn't you who first spoke to the child, it was Mark who first spoke to the child. But here in this, what he thinks private, clandestine conversation with Bolan, he's going to prop himself up as the fucking hero of this narrative and act like Mark was just a layabout who didn't do nothing. Fuck you, Adam.
Let me tell you, only one person ever said anything about Zaire to me at all while I was there. And it was Julie, the secretary. And it was only after I confided in her, she was the only one who ever mentioned it. I had hundreds or thousands of private conversations with Mark about
Thousands. It's a lot of conversations.
Yeah.
For months.
Yeah, I don't think that that's true. Unless he counts every single time that he said something after waiting for Mark to say something as a separate conversation. I somehow don't think that you had thousands of conversations over the course of a few months.
Well,
Bolan.
you're talking about people that are in a cult. And of course, when they're in the cult, they're not going to bring up things that are going to put Kent in a bad light. You know, it's not going to come out until after they leave the cult and are somewhat deprogrammed, I think.
Yeah, and you got to keep in mind also that Mark was way more invested into Dinosaur Adventureland as an organization than Steven ever was. Steven will never bring this up because he hates it to his core. But Mark was in Kent's inner circle, whereas Steven never was. Mark was on his board of trustees. He built cabins for Kent. He was in a position where he had way more authority and influence over what was going on at Dinosaur Adventureland than Kent ever did. Than Bolan ever did. And when you put that into the context of the fact that Mark not only walked away, but stuck by his principles after doing so, then it just makes Bolan's little switcheroo after he said all of this very factually accurate information about Kent and why he disliked Kent and why he thought that everybody, not only him, but all these families should stay away from Dinosaur Adventureland. And his little tell-all interviews with Cindy that he wishes he could sweep under the rug. You know, all of that just goes to show that Steven is a spineless, weak man who does not care about principles, who only cares about what he can get out of people.
Yeah, I'd like to go to Cindy's channel and watch some of those old interviews to just see how he contradicts himself, you know?
Oh, I have those on my channel, AJ. Go to the Rise and Fall of Stephen Bolan.
Yeah, check that video out.
for a long time, and I'm pretty sure to this day, the reason why Steven changed his channel name to Proverbs Guy is because when you looked up Stephen Bolan, which was his original channel name for a while, the first thing that would come up on YouTube was Big Bad Mama's video, The Rise and Fall of Stephen Bolan.
He started to go by Stephen Andrew after that.
You had to rebrand your own name, bitch.
all kinds of deep stuff. And he never mentioned it. That wasn't on his mind until after he turned on Kent. And then suddenly it was a holy crusade he had all along, except he didn't.
Right. So, Steven,
Pause.
I know that, like,
talk about insecurity. Talk about, like, what that says to me is that Steven is projecting the fact that he was a turncoat. He went against Kent only to turn back around and go, well, you know, all that factually accurate stuff I said about Kent, that was wrong. Let me lick your boots, Dr. Kent. That goes to show that he is exactly the thing he's accusing Mark of. Oh, well, he only turned against him when he's convenient, and then all of a sudden it was a problem. No, fuck you, Bolan. You're just projecting again, kind of like every single time you projectile vomit onto these streams. Ugh.
I'm speaking with emphasis.
Yeah.
But I want to clarify that I know it seems weird that I'm here to saying this. Like at first I was like full on board with Mark and Cindy. I don't know what happened, but they turned against me.
I don't either.
You convinced me of a bunch of stuff that just doesn't sound right. That they claimed didn't happen.
So the reason why they quote unquote suddenly turned against Adam was because Adam went around spreading a whole bunch of rumors about me, trying to get me discredited within the community, that I was able to definitively show as false, and was able to produce the receipts that proved that Adam was lying. So the reason why everybody inexplicably turned against you, Adam, was because you were shown to be a fuckwit and a liar.
Yeah, I remember when that happened, you know, but you can't trash the good name of Aiden.
That's right.
Happened, but you have the way you explained it. I'm convinced that Cindy and Mark did fucking put Chris on a plane, or they at least were about to.
Kind of a big difference.
Cindy and Mark, they both pooled their money together. They were like, all right, let's get this guy out of here. No, they didn't.
Well,
Chris Jones.
What they're talking about is the fact that Chris Jones did get assaulted, if not shot, at one point. And they were actually worried that he was going to be killed as a human being, I think. Is that wrong, Aiden?
No, that's correct. They both held to this idea, which I agree with, that while somebody who is that awful is an awful person, you know, they should be brought to justice. They should be faced with a court of law in front of their peers, because with somebody with as strong of an evidence of their wrongdoing as Chris Jones, if they have their day in court, they are going to be found guilty, and they are going to be sentenced to prison time. They are going to face a punishment for what they did. And in those kind of scenarios, yeah, you don't take the law into your own hands. You don't exercise vigilante justice and have that person killed just because this is your internet soap opera, and that's the ending that you would rather prefer to the season rather than the lame ending that you actually got. Like, this is all just a giant, analog of like Lost or House MD or some shit like that in Adam Lore's mind. This isn't real. None of these people are real people. This is just entertainment for him. This is all just a big sideshow. And it's such an incredibly fucked up mentality to have about actual human beings.
Well, and Steven is putting all this up to deflect from Kent's role in the entire debacle. So he's putting all this on Adam and Mark and Cindy, fighting amongst each other, what he's trying to put across. But it's all deflecting from the fact that Kent allowed a molester onto Dinosaur Adventureland several times and housed him in a house, you know, near the place.
Yeah, I mean, he did aid and abet a tier 3 convicted child sex offender. That's indisputable. Nobody can dispute that, and obviously it's in Steven's best interests, in the face of knowing that he can't argue with those facts, to instead just obfuscate. I love the smoke in the background for this, because I'm sure his mentality is, oh, it's just a smoking gun, wow. But in reality, this is just representative of the smoke screen that you're trying to put up to defend this disheveled piece of shit you have over on the right.
Yeah, I mean, Kent intentionally housed Chris in a house that he considered to be Cindy's property and not on Dinosaur Adventureland. It's like, why would you do that unless you thought there was something wrong with Chris being there, why would you not want him on your property?
Oh,
And
we
he
got-
lied about Cindy owning the property. She did not own it at the time, but yet he wanted to make it seem like it was her idea.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks
for the
for the super chat, A1 Chiefs fan. Very generous.
yeah, seriously. Shout
Thank
out to
you.
you, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
Always appreciated. Hope you're having a good one so far.
All right, let's keep
Yeah, let's
into
get
this
back into this.
business.
Are you not entertained?
And Mark protected Chris Jones. He called the police. He snitched out Zaire's family.
Yep.
That is
Yup.
beyond. When that happened, it's like, okay, I'm out. I'm not part of this anymore.
Something weird, right?
Why is he protecting Chris Jones?
Well, not just him, but
You see, this is just Bolan opportunistically, like the snake in the grass that he is, trying to take advantage of Adam's feelings on this and pit him against everyone else. Because Steven obviously doesn't give a shit about Chris. He clearly does not care about the personage of Chris and whether he lives or dies or what he does or doesn't do. He cares about Chris in the context of his relationship to Kent Hovind. So this deep concern that Steven is expressing, it's weird, isn't it? How Mark acted that way? You don't give a fuck, Steven. So stop trying to act like you do.
Yeah, it's just really transparent the way he sort of sucks up to Kent.
Well, he was trying to get back in Kent's good graces at this point. He had moved back to Dinosaur Adventureland, and he was tasked with making this documentary, of which this phone call formed the backbone of the documentary, basically a puff piece about Kent. And so, you know, part of me thinks he's trying to get a hold of Dinosaur Adventureland and kind of be the heir apparent, but go ahead.
Yeah, and you know, the funny thing is that it didn't even work. Like, he didn't even stay in Kent's good graces. I know for a fact that Steven left DAL not all that long ago in a giant huff because he got into a dispute with Kent. I don't know the exact nature of the dispute. I speculate that the reason that they had a dispute was because Kent wanted Steven to work as hard as everyone else was working at DAL, and Steven wanted to sit on his ass and edit shoddily made YouTube videos all day long. And that was the origin of their dispute. I don't know that for a fact, but knowing Steven's character, that seems like the most likely outcome to me. And it's so, like, imagine making something as shameful as this, you know, trying so desperately to drag other people's names through the mud and make them out to be the worst people ever, all for a goal that ends up falling through. And then you still go and make this freaking video trying to showcase it to people. Like, it's just pathetic.
Well, his departure, if you recall, coincided with the fact that Steven's cousin and her sisters, and I think her mom, were
correct. Yes,
were being housed on a property near the store in Lenox, and Kent had gone over there and tried to get one of the daughters to go to work, and she didn't want to get up, and so he poured water on her in bed and dumped the bed out onto the floor, and it created kind of a big kerfuffle in the community there.
Yeah, and Kent is the one who told us about this. Like, he went on YouTube when he still had his channel and told this whole story that we would have had no idea about it if he had not told us on YouTube. You know, and it just made him look bad.
Right.
Cindy. Me and Nick had to talk Cindy out of buying him a plane ticket. She was going to, and I still think
you talked them out of it.
I still think she did. And from what I heard, she did. But
they're trying to get Chris Jones away where he's not going to get shot.
Well, no, he's arrested now.
But I mean,
that was a while. That was like in 22.
Before he was arrested, they were trying to get him away where someone wasn't going to go and shoot and kill him.
Oh, yeah. They tried to get him to Texas.
Steven, Mark Stoney and I were about to get on a plane. Like, there's so much stuff people don't realize. Like, it's so complicated. Like,
What were you about to get on the plane for?
to kill motherfuckers.
No, he meant coming to take justice themselves.
That kind of seemed like a cut or an edit.
Yeah, seriously, go back there. Go back there and play that again.
Someone wasn't going to go and shoot and kill.
Oh,
them.
yeah. They tried to get him to Texas.
Steven, Mark Stoney and I were about to get on a plane. Like, there's so much stuff people don't realize. Like, it's so complicated. Like,
What were you about to get on the plane for?
to kill motherfuckers.
No, he meant coming to take...
Yeah.
Can you
that
pause
is
it there, Jay?
That's egregious. That is a cut, 150%.
So yeah. So did they have airplane reservations? Did they actually have tickets to go take a flight, or was this just like some like offhanded comment that was made over the phone or what have you? But this part of the call became the backbone of Bolan's documentary about Hovind.
Mm-hmm.
It really it just disgusts me to think that while Adam is flippantly talking about murdering a human being, Steven is creaming in his fucking shorts over it because, oh my god, I finally have something for my worthless documentary. Holy shit. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you so much. It's just so freaking pathetic. No, I talked with both Adam Lore and Mark during this time that Adam is talking about. And you know what I heard from both of them? I heard from Adam exactly what he's saying to Steven. I heard this narrative that, oh, they were going to get on a plane. And it was actually, according to Adam, it was Mark that was the one that was really trying to push for it. He was like, oh, Mark really wants to do this. He's like, I have all this experience in wartime and I know how to set up an ambush and I know how to do this and that. Like, we need to do this. And Adam portrayed himself as like, oh, I'm trying to be reasonable here. I'm just trying to calm him down and try to get him to like, no, man, let's try to take things one step at a time. And then I talked to Mark and he was shocked over what I was saying. He said, no, Adam did try talking to me about that stuff, but it was the polar opposite. It was Mark that was trying to talk Adam down because Adam got all up in his feelings and got this big streak of bravado that he was going to go and like the fucking Punisher or Judge Dredd or some shit, go and like take personal justice for what had happened and what this guy done did. And Mark was the one that calmed him down. So Adam is just talking complete shit right now. It's nothing but booty chatter nonsense.
Which makes sense. That why would Mark be trying to protect Chris Jones and then trying to get a flight to go do harm to Kent Hovind or what have you? It doesn't make any sense. But yet, Adam's the one that's kind of spreading the rumors that there's this big child molestation ring happening at DAL and there's a pit of bones and stuff. So it doesn't make sense that Mark would be the one trying to do something that extreme.
Yeah, it's very clear based on that's a very good point, Big Bad Mama. Based on their pattern of behavior, Adam was the one trying to radicalize everyone against Kent as much as possible. And that's way more conducive to being the one that wants to take that extreme of a measure than somebody who, according to Adam just a minute ago, was hesitant when this information was first brought to him and was like, oh, well, we need to take a look at this and look into it more. And, according to him, he was being all hesitant about it until it got personal against Mark. Then he acted against it. That's not conducive to somebody who just flippantly goes and hatches a murder plot against somebody.
Right.
Justice themselves, a posse for the...
Because, Steven, at that point, Chris Jones was still scheduled to be at DAO. Zair's family was about to shoot them up. They went to get justice. They were going to kill the motherfucker.
Now look,
Stoney snitches him out, calls the police to save Chris Jones's bitch ass. And Mark is like, I don't want Zaire to get in trouble. I'm gonna go do it. We're gonna go kill this motherfucker. And
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Once again, this is the narrative that I heard from Adam at the time, was that he's the one that's trying to be the voice of reason, and Mark is the one that's all fired up to do this, and Adam is just this innocent victim of circumstance. That's not how it went at all.
And we hear that. We hear him discrediting himself throughout this entire phone call.
Yeah, I mean, as Mark Twain said, no man is intelligent enough to be a full-time liar, and Adam Lore certainly isn't as intelligent as the good old genuine Samuel Clemens. So let's keep going.
I was like, dude, let's go do this. Like, let's take him out, because it's not just, I don't know. There's a lot more to this that you guys don't know. Like, it's not just everything that was on a fucking YouTube video. Like, I shouldn't be saying this, but Steven, to you, Steven, I'm telling you, this is what went down. Like,
I know.
we were like ride or die. It was not even like a question. Oh,
And the thing is 3/4 of it was made up.
what was made up?
3/4 of what Mark and Cindy had everybody rallied up over was made up.
See, pause. This is another example of the fact Adam Lore and Stephen Bolan are two snaky chameleon opportunists who are both only telling part of the narrative to each other right now because they genuinely think the other person in this conversation is stupid enough to forget the information. Little do they know, they're both playing a game. They're both omitting information from this because Stephen knows full well that it wasn't just Mark and Cindy. Adam was right alongside them, also trying to drum up all this attention, also trying to rally everybody. But is he going to bring up Adam's name here? No, because the truth isn't what's important to Stephen in this conversation. The narrative is.
Like, I'm not following what you're saying.
Like the bones, all the bones and all the
Dude, the
dead
bones
bodies
is
and the
confirmed.
prostitution ring and the pedophile ring. That was all made up.
Bones is for sure. It was
Dude.
eyewitness.
Okay. All right. How many eyewitnesses?
Yeah, the prostitution ring that a certain Chris Baker was getting involved with prostitutes. That was something that was going around at that point that actually got proven true, Steven. So sorry, just a bit of editorializing there. No, that actually got proven right.
Yeah, he like says a bunch of wrong things and then slipped in things that actually happened at the end.
Right.
Admitted it. The other people, the bad guys, admitted that there was fucking bones, and
The bad guys.
The bad guys.
Nobody nobody apart from Johanna that I remember ever even talked about that.
Seriously.
Oh, those are
Adam, get on Google and Google human.
Google.
Why does he say Google like it's Googol? Like that's okay. I'm gonna pronounce Google like it's some Sumerian god that people were sacrificing babies for. Go on Google, dude. It's right there.
Remains found by police, Bruin, Alabama. See if there's any bones.
Cindy filed a report.
Who cares what Cindy? Cindy can file a report that says they dug up a unicorn. That doesn't make it true. If they really found an illegal unicorn, Kent would have been in jail. And the same goes for the bone.
What?
That's literally so retarded that I don't even think it's worth commentary. I think we're just gonna let that we're just gonna let that chestnut speak for itself and move right along.
Bones, Adam. Come on, man. What do you think they were like, you know what? Cindy was right. These are human bones. But it's Sunday and we want to go home and have sex with our wives. We'll just
I don't remember
what. What a weird paging Dr. Freud. Dr. Freud, can you hear me? What a Freudian slip.
That was oddly explicit.
It really was. Like, it was just, yeah, okay. You go, Bolan. You go.
They did nothing because it wasn't human bones.
Well,
Or
that's-
Ken would be
It wasn't human bone. There was no bones.
wasn't it? Hold on.
They dig up every square inch.
Here's Achilles interjecting.
Oh yeah. More dead air.
Yeah, like
Okay,
he's saying,
so
"Oh
Steven,
yeah,"
this
and
is
then
my-
he's like, this is so fucking odd. Good God, Steven.
Jeez.
Please learn. At least if you're not going to like take a moment and like look at your Jabba the Hutt-esque visage in the fucking mirror. Like if you're not willing to do that, then at least take the time to learn how to video edit enough to be able to at least make your hit piece actually palatable to a large audience, because this is F tier level hit piece right here.
Like he showed that he knows how to edit two clips together, but then he doesn't edit out the Achilles dead air.
Yeah, like he literally had himself replying to nothing there. Like everybody who's listening to that who doesn't know that Steven's being a dishonest fuck is gonna be sitting there going, "Why is he talking to himself right there? That doesn't make no sense."
My recollection. They fucking found a femur, a human femur. It had rotted clothing on it.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
They fucking
Cindy
found a
and-
femur.
I'm sorry, I keep forgetting the other woman's name. The crazy lady.
Yeah. But then that bone,
It's not funny, Steven. They found a humorous.
They found a fucking human little ear bone. One of those ones that are like so small that you need a fucking microscope to even be able to see it. They found that, and you're not going to do anything about it, Steven?
They found a eustachian tube.
that bone wasn't found at DAL. It was found on the property next to DAL, which was
Oh,
owned by like
oh,
3 different
yeah,
people.
So that's
Okay. Would you let me finish a thought?
But at the time,
Oh my goodness.
When Stephen Bolan starts making sense, you know something's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, when Steven is the one that's like, hold on here, I'm going to be the voice of reason. It's like, oh, fuck.
that was when Zaire was missing, and that was where Zaire was. That's the whole point.
Was it Zaire?
At the time, we didn't know.
And it wasn't a human bone. I take you back to the evidence. If it was a human bone, why wasn't anyone arrested? Why wasn't that place dug up?
Cindy
You don't-
and the crazy lady identified it as a human bone. I don't know.
Like they called the lab, and the lab was like, this isn't human. And they were
Can
like,
you
you know
pause
what?
it there? Cindy and the crazy lady. I mean, when one of your sources is you call the crazy lady, I mean, I would start examining what you're saying. But
Seriously. I had this crazy person to back me up.
right.
The crazy person believes me.
Lincoln said it is, so we're going to
From
go
my
with that.
recollection, Kent, or I can't remember who, but I want to say it was Kent, or people on Kent's side were just saying, "Oh, well, yeah, we find human bones all the time. They're just, you know what I mean? They admitted that there was bones. They admitted that there's."
And if he even farted in public, they would go arrest him. They had no human bone. You don't find that odd that they found human bones and nobody got arrested?
They found the femur, a
No,
fucking
they didn't.
disgusting, rotting femur with rotting denim on it from pants, and then the bone. They didn't have it though. Like the bone went missing or something, right? Wasn't it like?
Oh, that is so coincidental.
All right, real quick. I'm just going to play a clip from something else. It's going to be, I promise it's going to be relevant.
Hello, I'm Dr. Reed Tamaranda, from the American Bone Institute. I know what you're thinking. Hey, I don't have any spare human bones to donate. Well, now scientists from our institute have been able to make usable...
I just came back from a phone call with a friend. What the fuck is happening right now?
I knew this was Tim and Eric.
Why is shaved Billy Mays on the screen right now? What are you trying to sell?
I swear it's relevant.
Chicken
Okay.
and pig rib bones. Let's take a look. Here's one of our scientists in our lab with a collection of used animal bones, which would normally be tossed out in the trash. First, the bones are crushed into a fine white powder. Then water or fruit juice is added. And the mixture is set aside for several days. On the last day, the mixture is poured into this plaster mold and placed in a pizza oven.
Oh my god, no.
This one is in the shape of the arm bone,
Oh.
but this one must be destroyed, for it is only for demonstration. So if you can't send in your own human bones, think about the animals around you. One important note, please do not send in squirrel bones. And I am deadly serious about this. It causes great problems. It's complicated. Do not send squirrel bones.
Wow.
Thank you.
I can see how relevant that was to the wider stream. Thank you.
I saw those guys in concert, by the way. It was awesome.
Saw them in concert?
Yeah,
Tim and
I
Eric,
remember.
yeah, I even high-fived Tim, which was cool.
Sweet.
I remember when they were touring. Yeah, they
Dr.
That's
Steve
awesome.
Brule was there.
I mean, that's like what people are saying, right? Isn't that the
That
story?
is so cool. I don't know what their story is because it's bullshit.
I
I
don't
can't keep up
know.
with their lies.
I just don't know, AJ.
Is this Achilles talking right now?
Yeah. I'm just trying to fill the dead air.
Dr.
right now.
Hovind is the most important
The
Christian.
feds went there. God damn it. They went in like they were.
Taking what you said and having Adam interrupt it was pretty funny. That's pretty good uninterrupted. Unintentional comedy right there.
But they didn't find anything.
Because they hid the fucking evidence. They got like a tractor and dug up all the.
Look. If there
They
was,
knew that the FBI and the police. There was like 3 different levels of administration that were coming, and they went and they fucking moved everything with tractors and buried a bunch of stuff.
really, who told you
Yes.
that? Was it also Mark or Cindy?
What?
Was it Mark or Cindy that told you that too? I bet it was.
I can't remember who.
I bet it was Mark or Cindy. I don't even have to ask.
Because it wasn't just Mark and.
Then
Cindy.
why did you ask?
Bolan
And
should
it
be a
wasn't. It
comedian,
was
seriously.
Johanna. And the story was a dog dragged the femur away and they couldn't find it after that. So that's what the story was back in that at that time.
Correct. I remember hearing about that. Adam literally told it like that for a long time as well. So the fact that he's acting right now like, oh, I don't know, I just don't remember. Well, if you're going to talk so confidently about this shit and you genuinely don't remember all of your facts, maybe you should just shut your fucking mouth and figure out the facts before you start blabbering on about it, because shit like this happens, dumb fuck.
Wow. Well said.
There were
I'm
other
telling you, I used to talk with the cops, the sheriffs in the area. I gave them free drinks. Like, I'd go out and smoke cigarettes with them for 30.
Were you Tom Cruise and bartender?
Yeah, I was just driving around speedboats and classic cars all the time and, getting down with every single lady that I saw. Just the usual thing that you do in your atheist lifestyle.
I was doing cocaine in the 1980s.
Yeah, I was in Miami at the time. It was very good. I think they made a movie about this.
30, 40 minutes at a time. They hate Kent Hovind, but they have nothing on Kent Hovind. I promise. They've never found bones.
Usually when you say that you don't have something on, they got nothing on me, that means that there is actual dirt. It's just that you haven't gotten caught yet.
Yeah. He hasn't been caught with one thing yet. Nobody's even found out about the secret Taiwanese sweatshop going on underneath DAL. I mean, come on.
Yeah, or his new AI project, except it's anonymous Indians.
Just a bunch of Bangladeshi children stuck in a closet somewhere.
I made new AI, guys. Look.
There's no prostitution ring. There's no pedophile ring. There was a pedophile friend that was coming, Chris Jones. He came.
I love how like casually he says that, you know, like it's as inconvenient as dropping an egg while you're making some freaking scrambled eggs.
Yeah, you know, there were some people over there. There was kind of a pedophile over there, I guess. But anyway, besides that.
This is the classic part coming up, I think, where he says, "Yo, there was no ring. There were only 2 pedophiles."
Oh, does he include that here? Does he include
I think
that?
so.
Well,
Oh,
it's
good.
the entire call, right?
Well, the entire call without Achilles, because that's the entire call according to Buttfuck Bolan.
Yeah. Can we talk about the number of fonts on this thumbnail?
Yeah, it's a it's a fucking
Shocking.
disaster. Shocking in like the Trailer Park Boys font. The entire call in like a 90s grunge band font. And then we've got Times New Roman down below that with it underlined below. What a fucking mess.
Kent Hovind's underlined.
Kent Hovind!
Can we get Comic Sans or Papyrus in here?
Shocking! The entire call failed murder plot on Kent Hovind!
Though it's not as bad as Kent's own slides. If you've ever seen that one slide where he has all the channels stuffed in there.
Oh, yeah.
I think
And
Emma
everything's
even
in
talked
boxes.
about it. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
He came like 6 times in 8 years.
Oh, only 6 times.
And
You know, this is half a dozen times he showed up. What's the problem with that?
They only brought it up. They only brought up Chris Jones coming once.
You know, if Chris Jones showed up 7 or 8 times, that'd be a bridge too far. But 6 times is fine.
It's
I
like
don't know why Bolan included this even because basically the story before was that Chris Jones showed up one time for one night, and that was it. That was kind of the story that was being thrown around. So now he kind of tells a little bit more of the truth here.
it's like that movie Basketball with Trey Parker and Matt Stone, and they have this roommate, and like they always push him around, and he's like, "If you guys rip on me like 30 or 40 more times, I'm gonna leave."
Wow, I didn't know they predicted Lupin. Jesus.
one other pedophile that was never convicted but admitted guilt, and that was it.
Brady Byron.
Yep.
Like, why does that make it okay?
Do you know?
Never caught.
Fun fact, Stephen: the vast majority of ministries in the United States actually have 0 pedophiles come and go from them. So I'm pretty sure only 2 quote-unquote pedophiles is 200% more than you should have.
Right.
Two men. That's not a pedophile ring. And Kent's admitted to these things
there
publicly.
You need to have enough people to link hands for it to count as a ring.
Yeah, only one more person. Now, if you had 3 pedophiles go there, then you could say that's a pedophile ring. But with only 2, I mean, come on, they're just being ridiculous right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
20 different
What he
pedophiles.
said.
No, there wasn't. That's a lie. I was there, Adam. That's a lie. That's what Mark Stoney. It's a lie. I was there. It's a lie.
Say it one more time, Stephen. And now we have Achilles. I like to put a little bit of milk in with my scrambled eggs because the scrambled eggs are much more creamy. I just find it much more entertaining to think he's just saying the most mundane shit. I like to eat
Right.
these sausage
Where's
links.
the evidence? Show me 20 pedophiles. I bet you can only show me 2.
Yeah, boom.
Who's the two?
Fuck do you know, Adam?
It's Chris Jones and Brady Byron.
Okay, those are the two. But then, like in Kent's past, he had other shit associated with pedophiles.
I don't recall any of that. I don't remember any.
The school that he drove a bus route for, what's it called? Big Bad Mom and
Niles Anderson College.
Niles Anderson College, yeah. They had a lot of issues with that.
I mean, like, look, you know, a lot of people think that one company that released that baby formula that deformed a whole bunch of babies back in the 60s and 70s, you know, like, there was only, like, how many babies that were horrifically deformed to the rest of the population? It was minuscule. Come on.
That's the level of argument that we've got here. It's just no. Any amount of pedophilia taking place in a children's themed park is too much. That's what normal people have to say when they're confronted with that, Stephen, not partisan hacks like you.
Yeah, I know. If you watch the second video that I did with Paulogia, they talk about that Niles Anderson College or whatever it is.
That's where what's his name, Melvin Meister, who lives at Dinosaur Adventureland, was a big pastor at Niles Anderson. And there's like all sorts of there's stories on the internet if you look it up in terms of the way they discipline children there, and horrible.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't think Kent worked for Niles Anderson, though. I think where he drove the bus was for another church, maybe up in Illinois, but I'm not positive.
Cool. Well, let's keep playing this. Maybe I can find
like Cindy being married to Kent. She kept. This isn't public YouTube shit. This is private conversation shit. Cindy told me some shit.
Can you go back there for
that was classic?
Can we get an instant replay on that one?
Right. Where's the evidence? Show me 20 pedophiles. I bet you can only show me 2.
Who's the 2? Wasn't it Brady?
It's Chris Jones and Brady Byron.
Okay, those are the 2. But then, like in Kent's past, he had other shit associated with pedophiles.
I don't recall any of that. I don't remember any of that.
Cindy had like Cindy being married to Kent. She kept. This isn't public YouTube shit. This is private conversation shit. Cindy told me some shit. I'm convinced.
Did she ever show you evidence, Adam?
Pause. I love how he says that this isn't public YouTube shit with the sole explicit purpose of covering his ass. He doesn't want it revealed. The fact that he's a backbiting, rumor spreading. The moment he hears a juicy bit of gossip, he's going out and reporting it like some salacious, if it bleeds, it leads-esque reporter. That's the only reason why he cares about it getting out there, because he doesn't want to get a reputation of being unreliable. Oh, wait, too late.
Okay, I just wanted to play this part.
Kent Hovind videos and found an interesting story of people exposing Kent Hovind for this, that, and the third. And so I started digging in. I did my very first Kent Hovind deep dive, which was really, really fun. And then it drove me down this interesting road, just finding names and connecting dots, going from Niles Anderson College to where DAL stands today. And the road from there to now got exceptionally dark and exceptionally bumpy. I guess where we would start is with Chris Jones. Chris Jones is on the board of directors with Kent Hovind. He is, as Kent Hovind has said himself, very close friends. Chris Jones is a tier 3 child sex offender in 2 states.
Hovind's an evil person because he let Chris Jones come on his property.
Chris Jones has been a friend of mine for many, many years. I've known he was railroaded because he knew things about what happened at the jail. And so they had to shut him up somehow. So they made up these wild charges from an incident from 5 years earlier, I believe it was.
In California, they're real strict. He was playing strip poker with the boys to teach one of them a lesson. They asked him to be the dealer, and he rejected it for a long time. Finally, he said, okay. And so he got him down to his underwear and said, Chris said, that's it, let's go. Much later, they accused him, because Chris was very active in publishing stuff, exposing what's going on, New World Order kind of thing.
Anyway, he now has to register as a sex offender.
More than 7 children, more than 21 instances of aggressive child sex offenses.
Here are the things that Chris Jones did in order to get convicted as a pedophile and get put on the sex offender registry list. Chris Jones, according to People vs. Jones, put a naked boy over his lap and smacked his butt. He
I feel like we could probably skip that part. It's fucked up.
One of the few valued contributions TTOR has ever made to this website. Thank you, TTOR, for demonstrating that even a broken clock can indeed be right twice a day.
Yeah, now he's a Proverbs guy.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Funny how that ends up all going back around when people think that enough time has passed that they can just sweep that little chestnut under the rug, huh?
Campus every time this guy comes. This is our home. We would like him not to come on campus.
Kent Hovind proceeded to do a house meeting, which we also have the leaked audio of, where he says that if you don't like it, you can leave.
Okay, now, I want anybody to say whatever you want to say about Chris. Okay, you have any questions? I want this clear. Because next time I invite him here, somebody else is going to get mad and leave. Well, just bye. Okay, go ahead.
That's the attitude.
That's the attitude I have, and I'm going to keep it, and I'm proud of it. This is the place God called me to
That's
start.
the attitude that is wrong.
Okay, I think it's right.
It's just showing that you're not willing to bend and you're more interested in being king.
I see it the opposite way. You're not willing to bend. He's been my friend for 20 years. He's carried this leprosy label around for long enough. It's done.
Drawing a very distinct line that Hovind will stand with his friends before anybody else. It becomes a bigger problem when you start to realize there's a man who is also on campus and also a very close friend of Kent Hovind.
Brady Byram was just appointed to the board of Creation Science Evangelism in February.
Anyway, it's a good video. Go and check that out. But yeah, should we continue on this Bolan thing or I feel like.
I mean, I feel like we've been pretty thorough. I don't know if there's really going to be much else after this that's going to be as good as what we've already covered.
I think that was the highlight, was the Bolan admitting that there were, 2 pedophiles who visited Dinosaur Adventure Land multiple times. I think that was the most important point that video basically uncovered.
Yeah, Zachary in the side chat here said, this is private, even if it wasn't. Just to cover, the only reason Steven is talking to Adam is to post this. And that is true. If there's one more thing I want to put on record, it's the fact that Achilles, the third participant in this conversation, who suspiciously did not want his audio included in this conversation, I don't know if you were in the room when he came on and talked about it, Big Bad Mama, but there was one point where we were backstage in, I believe it was Mark's Google Meet Room, back during the era where we were hanging out in Mark's Google Meet Room a lot offline. And he came in there and talked with us extensively about what happened here and revealed that, yes, it was Steven's explicit aim to have this recorded. And the moment that this ended, Steven asked Achilles if he had it recorded, and he said, yeah, I do. So that was the entire reason. They weren't there to commiserate with Adam. They weren't there to talk shop or to try and clarify things or to do anything besides just get the ramblings of an untrustworthy person to be fodder for their hit piece. That's really all that it amounted to. So, I mean, I really am quite floored by the fact that Steven is still holding on to this all this time later. Because Adam was talking about it in the interview. That interview, quote unquote, or conversation that Adam and Steven were having with each other there, that probably took place about 2 years ago. And in that conversation, Adam is referencing things that happened 2 years ago compared to that. You know, so it's like one of those posts that you see online about how, you know, Cleopatra was actually closer to modern times than she was to the building of the ancient Egyptian pyramid. That's how ancient of fucking internet history we're talking about here. And he's still holding on to it, and he's still trying to peddle this narrative to anybody who's willing to listen. Please, somebody believe me that I'm not the piece of shit here. It's actually everyone else. And it's just so pathetic.
And this video was just uploaded to Rumble yesterday, so
Right.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that, because it's not like we're just archaeologists digging through ancient history in order to uncover this. No, this is being dredged up by them. So if it's going to be dredged up, it may as well have the story set straight before a bunch of people are convinced by this crappy narrative. Not that I think they would. I really do think that you'd have to be genuinely a little challenged in order to buy into that narrative. But hey, some people do, so maybe I'm wrong.
And let me just add something, a dig at Hovind, because Hovind made the statement that, oh yeah, they're going after Chris Jones because of his ties to exposing the Illuminati and Bohemian Grove. And, you know, Hovind changed his story later to say that it was Chris Jones going after the local politicians and the sheriffs in wherever the Carolinas where he lived. So he totally changed his tune there, instead of admitting that, yeah, Chris Jones was guilty and he was convicted of those crimes. So that's all I have.
And it's awkward even hearing Kent mention the strip poker thing because,
right,
yeah,
it's cringy.
Well, the way that he brings it up, it's almost as though like, oh, he was like, I don't even buy into the fact he was hesitant about it. I'm pretty sure, according to the transcript, it was actually his idea to do it in the first place. Yeah, no, I'm not surprised. But I love how in Kent's version of events, oh, well, he was hesitant about it, so it makes it okay that he wanted to play strip poker with a bunch of people a tiny fraction of his age. Like, no, I don't care how hesitant he was. He should have said no.
And he said he was playing strip poker with them for a long time before it became an issue. And it was like, okay.
Oh, that makes everything A-okay. Like,
it's like how he reframes Lot's daughters getting him drunk and them choosing to sleep with their parent rather than what obviously happened, which was just a dad that molested his two kids. Got drunk and then, yeah, but they're like, he's like, oh, Lot's daughters got him drunk and then they needed to repopulate the world, so they intentionally got pregnant by their dad.
They engaged in incest? All right, so how do we make it clear that, okay, Lot engaged in incest, but he did it in a way that absolves him of any wrongdoing? Oh, I know how. We're just going to make it so that he was, you know, taken advantage of by his daughter. And it was pointless anyways, because after they come down the mountain, some random fucking village is just spawned in right below at the base of the mountain, so it was totally pointless.
Well, you see,
the thing on the daughters, didn't he? Didn't Ken
one of his daughters was actually P. Diddy, so
it makes sense. It makes sense. I Survived a Lot is going to be a documentary that's going to be coming out pretty soon here.
Alrighty. Well, yeah, I mean, you can see in that call that I don't know why Bolan is still peddling this audio, but obviously he just makes himself look stupid, but they both do. So I shudder to think of who would be convinced by any of the reasoning in that audio of either of those people.
I mean, it just strikes me as Bolan, just like I said at the very beginning before we even went live, I was saying backstage, if there's one reason why this exists, it's just spite. Yeah. Bolan is extremely spiteful over the fact that things didn't pan out the way that he wanted them to. The public opinion and zeitgeist wasn't changed the way that he wanted it to be, so he just wants to keep perpetuating it because that's all he knows what to do at this point. And
it's major knob polishing of Hovind. I think that's an important part of why this came out and why it's being perpetuated.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I think I'm going to end the stream there, but thank you guys for joining me. It was a lot of fun, as usual.
Absolutely.
Thanks, AJ. That was fun. Good to see you, Aiden.
Yeah, likewise, Big Bad Mama. Thanks for having me on, AJ. Thank you for everybody who's watching. Thank you, A1 Chiefs fan, for the donation again. That was much appreciated. And I hope everybody has a good one and hope you enjoyed the stream. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks, guys.